Enough crowds. First, though, let's get a look at the morning's top stories with Good Day's Buck Lanford. Buck, good morning.
Morning, ladies. We begin with the Falcons, too. They say the search begins immediately to fill two top positions in the organization after firing both head coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot. And Fox 5 Sports' Miles Garrett joins us live in studio this morning with more on the restructuring of this football team. Man, pay attention because things are changing fast around there, Miles.
Patrick. Well, now to a big story. Of course, you have seen this by now, but a really exciting regular season finale for the Falcons over the weekend. It was so good to see the team drop the bomb, though. They will be parting ways with the head coach and with the general manager as well. So here's what we know about this situation. Fans can't necessarily say they were surprised by the news. In fact, many have been calling for this to happen for several weeks, if not months. But despite Sunday's win against the Saints, the Falcons failed to make the playoffs again. They have not made the playoffs since 2017, but there's seemingly no hard feelings from owner Arthur Blank. He praised both Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot as well for their commitment to the team, saying he had a great personal affinity for both, but just believed that the team needed new leadership in these roles moving forward. Just a few hours ago, Blank sent out a long letter to media and fans explaining what's next for the team. So here's the most important parts to fans, but you can read that full letter at fox5atlanta.com. I want to click into this and just give you some of the highlights. He says, no statement can change the disappointment of the past several seasons. I know we've fallen short of the standard you expect, and as an organization that we have for ourselves, that responsibility rests with me. When results do not match expectations over time, as the owner, accountability cannot be shared or softened. I believe this team should be competing at a higher level than it has, and I share your deep frustrations. He also goes on to say this: with the help of Sportsology Group, we've conducted a deep, thorough health assessment of our entire football operation over the last 2 months. As we announced last night, we'll have a new head coach and general manager in 2026, but that is only one part of our approach in this new area. He said, today I'm writing to let you know the following changes are already in process of being implemented with the Atlanta Falcons. So just in general, I want to mention this too. This was something that came out of this. He says, as part of our ongoing succession planning, Greg Beatles has been elevated from president to president and CEO of the Atlanta Falcons effective today, succeeding Rich McKay. He said Greg will continue oversight of all the business affairs of the Falcons and collaborate closely with the new president of football to ensure all resources and operational support are working toward our ultimate goal. So just a few of the snippets there from Arthur Blank, just outlining, the decisions that were made and what we can look forward to from the Falcons moving forward. But again, certainly some very big news and some big changes ahead for the Atlanta Falcons franchise. Well, switching gears, this is something that caught me a little bit off guard when realized that today is 5 years since the attack on the U.S. Capitol. It's been 5 years. So videos and pictures from what was later called an insurrection immediately went viral. Of course, you remember seeing these. Various news outlets have reported millions of dollars worth of damage was done. But for years, the world's watched as about 1,000 participants were charged and then later pardoned by President Trump. Former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan was set to host a virtual news conference addressing what happened that day on Capitol Hill. One of our reporters, Deidre Dukes, will have full coverage of what was discussed in that news conference a little bit later today. So be sure to stick with here with us on Fox Local for the very latest on that. But some other big news from today. She's someone who's been in the headlines, obviously, for years, but especially in recent months, talking about Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is her last day in her position. For the last year, she's been marred by the fallout with the president after criticizing his administration's handling of the Epstein files, among other things. So more recently, she blasted him on the U.S. covert military operation in Venezuela and the ousting of its leader, Nicolás Maduro. So speaking on Meet the Press, she said that capturing Maduro and occupying Venezuela goes against the America First message that many voters supported. Green said the focus should be on jobs. She said it should be on housing and it should be on health care here at home. So if you're wondering what's next for her, we are too. Besides getting married to White House correspondent Brian Glenn, we actually don't know. She hasn't said what's next. She's been pretty tight-lipped about future plans and has not indicated whether she plans to run for any other political office. But again, a big day as this is her last day in office. Many vying for her spot representing her district here in Georgia. Meanwhile, some big news coming out of Cincinnati. We're hearing a man allegedly broke into the home of Vice President J.D. Vance. Officers are saying it's 26-year-old William DeFore, and they say he was arrested at the scene by Secret Service. Luckily, officials say Vance and his family weren't there. Thank goodness. They'd already returned to Washington, D.C., but we're still hearing reports of damage to the property, including several broken windows through all of this. It's not clear what DeFore is accused of doing inside the home, though. We haven't heard that part of it just yet. We're also still waiting on charges to be reviewed by the U.S. Attorney's Office, and then investigators will have to determine whether the vice president's family was targeted. So, again, a concerning scene. The mugshot that you're seeing right there, 26-year-old William DeFore arrested at the scene of J.D. Vance's home in Cincinnati. So we, of course, will keep you updated on what's happening here. All right. So, well, it's been 4 years, and it's about to be 4 more years that we're talking about. Andre Dickens will soon be sworn in for his next term as Atlanta's mayor. That's happening a little bit later today. So he had a very eventful start to the year, a 3-day inauguration celebration that happened over the weekend. And soon, I believe, we'll have our Angelique Proctor joining us from City Hall with more on that and what we can expect to happen at that swearing-in ceremony. Also South Fulton has sworn in its first female mayor. We're talking about Carmelita Gums. So let's listen in to what happened with this.
So we're going to do a little something different. My council family is going to join me. But my little youngest supporter is Ashley, still out here. Can you come and join me, please? This is our future mayor of City of South Fulton. Can you hold the Bible for me? Okay, my daughter had to work, so. All right.
All right, raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible, please, and repeat after me.
All right.
I, Carmelita Gums,
I, Carmelita Gums,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will honestly and faithfully perform the duties of City of South Fulton Mayor by adopting such measures as in my judgment shall be best calculated to promote the general welfare of the inhabitants of the City of South Fulton and the common interest thereof. I further swear that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof. That I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state, from which I am, by the laws of the state of Georgia, prohibited. That I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and the laws of Georgia. And that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state and observe the of the charter and code of ordinances of the City of South Fulton. I further swear that I have been a resident of the city of South Fulton for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state and the charter and code of ordinances of the city of South Fulton. So help me God. Or so I affirm. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I'm not going to be long because they're going to have to rewrite their speeches for Saturday. First of all, thank you so much for being here. This is a historic moment as we are moving our city forward. I am so excited about the city of South Fulton's future. I just can't pinch myself every time. I'm excited about this council. To have your council come and stand behind you, it means everything, because that means that we are focused and we are ready to move the city of South Fulton to its highest potential. So, yeah, scream for that. So again, you all are my family. As residents, I want you all to know how important this is for our city. This is a pivotal moment. We've been through quite a bit in the past 8 years. It's time for healing. It's time for believing in what we truly desire. I want to thank my sorority sisters that are here. Thank you all for standing up for me. I want to thank my political friends that are here. It was a rough journey, but we made it. South Fulton is too precious. We got some great things coming, and I hope that you all will be proud. And I can't not do this without our leadership, our city manager, and this council. So please keep your eye on us. Continue to pray for the city of South Fulton. So I'm going to save all my good stuff for Saturday. Did you give them some refreshments? They going to get some refreshments? Okay. So you all will have an opportunity to fellowship with us afterwards. So again, thank you all for being here.
A big day there for Carmelita Gumbs being sworn in as the city of South Fulton's first female mayor. Congratulations to her. All right, our time is 11:14, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. All right, Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens will be sworn in for 4 more years today, happening in just a little bit. He's had a really eventful start to the year. In fact, there was a 3-day inauguration celebration that kicked off this weekend. So we've got our Angelique Proctor joining us now. She is live from, it looks like you're there. Where are you right now, Angelique, with where this is all going to happen?
Well, good morning to you. We are actually on the campus of Georgia State University. We are at the Convocation Center, and wow, this is an incredible scene here all around me. If you take a look, this is the culmination of Inauguration Week. The swearing-in ceremony will happen here, and everything is Mayor Andre Dickens. As you can see, all of the electronic boards here and all of the insignia that is on display here. This is, of course, the formal start of Mayor Andre Dickens' second term, and once again he is taking a very inclusive approach, saying that the group project continues. And so the inauguration began on Saturday with that day of service, with the mayor talking about helping your neighbors and uplifting others through Atlanta Cares. And then on Sunday he had an ecumenical type service connecting with the spiritual community. And now today this is actually open to the public. It will also be live streamed on X, on YouTube, and Facebook, and we are told that several civic leaders will be on hand. The president of Georgia State University, M. Brian Blake, will bring the welcome, and the oaths of office for the mayor, the Atlanta City Council members, and the Atlanta City Council president will be done by the Atlanta Municipal Court office. And of course, Chief Municipal Court Judge Christopher Ward will make remarks. Then we will have the swearing-in ceremony, and we will have acceptance speeches from the president of the Atlanta City Council, Marcy Collier Overstreet. And of course, we will hear remarks from the Honorable Mayor of Atlanta, Andre Dickens. So a whole lot is planned. This is going to be really exciting. I've been told there's will be lots of music as part of the ceremony, and it is something that you will be able to see right here on Fox Local. But the mayor has been very clear that Atlanta is moving forward, and we will see a lot more progress over the next 4 years, and it all begins right here today. Elise?
Here, beginning the next 4 years. Angelique, looks like a great setup and plenty of chairs, plenty of seating for those that decide to show up for this. And like Angelique mentioned, this is open to the public. So Angelique, thank you so much for giving us this first look at this. And if you're around at 1 p.m., then make sure that you're staying with Fox Local. We'll have the whole thing for you right here with what you can expect at that swearing-in ceremony. So Angelique, we will see you soon. Thank you so much for that. Our time now is 11:19, and let's get you now to New York. So lots going down there. In fact, happening now, Nicolás Maduro, the dethroned leader of Venezuela, is in New York City. That's where he's expected to be arraigned today in federal court. So you're taking a live look outside of that courthouse. That's where a little earlier a big crowd had gathered. So it looks like they cleared out some of that. But at one point, you saw a big crowd with people with signs that they were holding up as well. So a big turnout there. But Maduro, of course, indicted on major drug trafficking and weapons charges alongside his wife, Celia Flores. Just days ago, you'll remember, he was captured inside Venezuela's presidential palace and brought to the U.S. in a move that really shook the world. President Trump announced the U.S. would temporarily take control of Venezuela while looking for a new leader. So Secretary of State Marco Rubio clarified the U.S. would not be handling the day-to-day operation. So important to note that. Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel addressed the FBI's role in Maduro's capture on Fox and Friends. So I want you to listen to a few of his remarks. Actually, to those remarks, we've got those in full for you. Here they are.
It's great to be with you this morning, and thanks so much. Yes, the FBI's Critical Incident Response Group, CIRG, runs our tactical, aviation, and specialized operation units to include our hostage rescue team. And thankfully, this mission, orchestrated by President Trump, his courageous, decisive decision to lead us through this with the Department of War and our intelligence community, saw mission success because every component of this operation, every link in this chain was flawlessly executed by the experts in the intelligence community and law enforcement and military sectors, and we were proud to be a part of it. Our hostage rescue team operators are our specialized tactical unit. They embedded with the insertion force along with the force at sea to extract and execute this daring raid and capture operation, a law enforcement operation quarterbacked by at home with our Department of Justice partners. And then we at the FBI are in charge of what we call an FTOC, a foreign transfer of custody. In order to maintain law enforcement custody of the individual from the ground raid seizure through the maritime transportation and aviation transportation, FBI hostage rescue team agents and medics and specialized aviation units are running that portion of the operation with our law enforcement partners and our intelligence community partners and our DOW partners. So this is what it looks like when you have a great leadership at the White House under President Trump. This is what it looks like when you have decisive action to take out and eliminate and arrest and bring to justice individuals who are pouring narcotics into the streets of America and causing deaths to tens of thousands of Americans. Just want to be very careful here. Department of Justice and our DEA partners are going to be running point on these prosecution charges for narco-terrorism. But generally speaking, it's what I alluded to earlier. It is a large and continuous volume of illicit narcotics, to include cocaine and fentanyl and meth and everything else that we see harm our children and get poured into our communities. And thanks to President Trump's decisive leadership, we've seen a drastic reduction in not just deaths, but quantity of narcotics available on our streets. But Venezuela acted not only as a large and massive transshipment point by air and by sea, but also allowed drug traffickers to operate with reckless abandon inside their borders. And their direct target of deployment was the United States of America in large part. And that's what these charges, in my opinion, I believe will address. And thankfully that these individuals are now behind bars to face the justice system. And for me, quite frankly, it doesn't matter how long or how short the process is, as long as we get it right, and we're off to a great start thanks to the decisive leadership this weekend of President Trump and his national security team.
FBI Director Kash Patel, you're hearing there, answering a few questions on Fox and Friends. So I want to show you this new video. Fox was able to obtain this. It shows Nicolás Maduro handcuffed there in the custody of federal agents in New York City. So it's a bit strange. If you heard the audio from this, you can hear him say goodnight. You could also hear him say Happy New Year. So a little bizarre given the situation, but he was escorted through that corridor marked DEA NYD. There again, he is expected to be in court today at noon. You can count on us to bring you the very latest on what happens with that. But in the meantime, at U.S. airports, the situation, all of this has caused a ripple effect of delays. Major airlines, Delta, Southwest, JetBlue among the airlines as well, canceling hundreds of flights after the FAA shut down airspace over the Caribbean. Now, since then, though, Delta has announced it's added 2,600 seats on extra flights for today. So Delta says it's working to ensure all affected passengers are accommodated by tomorrow. So trying to get those folks on planes who had flights scheduled to go to or through the Caribbean. All right, let's take a live look now at the airport. You see some blue skies today, and as far as the temperature goes, it's feeling pretty pleasant outside. So meteorologist Jonathan Stacy is joining us now. And Jonathan, it looks like some of that fog has made its way out.
Finally.
Yes, much clearer.
A number of issues along the airways or in the airways over the weekend, some of them drifting into this Monday morning. And then to add insult to injury, you also had the fog, which triggered a ground stop at the airport. That was during the 7 o'clock hour. That ground stop only wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. Wow. So things have been on standstill at the airport. So you can see here that the fog situation is not completely done with in terms of the North Georgia region, but Atlanta, things are looking much better. We can see clearly now the fog is gone, but still the visibilities from Gainesville to Covington, and it looks like the epicenter of the fog continues to be Athens. And I have been over there in that particular area when the fog was out and about, and I tell you, from Hart County going up to Stevens, the fog can be really stifling in that area. Hopefully it does not linger for long. Our forecast suggests that we'll be able to break through as the winds continue to flow in from the south, and that southerly flow of wind will do two two things. It will help the fog mix out, and then it will also increase the temperature. In fact, right now it's not even midday, and Noonan is already at 60 degrees, almost there in LaGrange at 59. We're on our way here in Atlanta at 52 degrees. The temperatures will spike as soon as you're introduced to some sunshine, and that will push numbers to highs that are some 6 to 10 degrees above seasonable averages. That said, we'll look for a high today here in Atlanta of 63 degrees. What a nice way to start out. Unseasonable nonetheless, but what a nice way to start out the first Monday of 2026. We'll have to punch some holes in the clouds to be able to guarantee that we make it into the low to mid 60s across the area. I think it's very possible as we look at your hour by hour forecast. The clouds never go away completely. In some neighborhoods, you'll have more sunshine than others. However, they'll make a comeback overnight. Overnight, we'll look for temperatures to fall down into the 40s, not a steep drop in the numbers. Still a chill for the morning, 48 degrees here in Atlanta. Temperatures outside the perimeter falling somewhere between 40 degrees and 50 degrees as we wake up on the second day of the work week. Tuesday will offer another round of fog for some communities, but the fog should not be as prevalent as it was this morning. Despite the fog lifting by mid-morning, no matter where it forms, the clouds don't completely disappear because they'll be replaced by some rain clouds. Those clouds will give us a spray of some showers late Tuesday going into Wednesday. However, by Wednesday midday, the sun is out and the temperature is up. And we're talking now some 15 degrees above average to post 3 days with highs at 70 degrees or higher. That takes us through the work week, that is, but big changes for the weekend, including wet weather Friday night going into Saturday and cooler temperatures for the weekend.
Yeah, look at that temperature drop that we can expect to happen. Interesting. But as far as the week goes, it's not too bad, Jonathan.
I tell you, one of the things I need to get out of bed is some sunshine.
That's
Sorry, you don't get that when you wake up, but sunshine helps, and also it helps when you don't have to walk outside into a tundra. And that is not the Southeast, and we're not alone. We're talking about most of the eastern half of the nation experiencing unseasonably warm temperatures, with records being broken out across the heartland.
Have you already had people asking you, though, if we're going to end up having to, what's the saying? I don't know, pay the piper for what we're experiencing right now? Are you already getting questions like that?
Yeah, I did, and I explained it to a friend of mine earlier this week. Think if we had a jump rope and you were on one side of it and I was on the other side of it, and basically what we were doing is we were just flicking it with our wrist. Our wave heights would not be that great, okay?
Right.
But if we started putting some muscle, some elbow into it, those wave heights would be bigger, right? So think of that as a jet stream, and as long as the jet stream is doing this, okay, we're 5 degrees above average one day, 5 degrees below the next. That's what we're doing week over week, okay? But if you get to swinging this thing and you got 15 degrees above average,
it's gonna be doing
then
this.
Guess what? Your lows are going to be low too. So when the jet stream swings down, I think it's going to dig deep, and there could be some revisitation of polar air. Remember, we're only 1/3 of the way through meteorological winter. February and of course January.
Of course. Okay, no one can tell a story, can paint a picture like you can. That was a good visual. I feel like we got it.
In my own way.
In your own way, and we appreciate you
I hope
for
it
that.
makes sense.
You did. Jonathan, thank you so much. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, chances are you've had the flu. At least you know someone who's had the flu. Cases are rampant right now, and the CDC is taking notice of that. So joining us now, we've got our Tyler Finger joining us just to break down what we know about this flu season that's been really, really bad, Tyler.
Yeah, if you know anyone who has been sick, likely it has been the flu. The CDC says this has been incredibly difficult so far this year. I talked to a doctor last week who was telling me that the problem is just rampant right now. And we just got new flu numbers from the CDC that was released within the last half hour. You're looking at the map right now on your screen. So you see Georgia, that is purple. So that is considered very high, and we're the high level of very high. There's 3 levels of the very high activity, and we're now in the purple level. Earlier, for the last week, we've been just slightly lower, but as you can see, most of the South is dealing with flu that is just incredibly rampant in our area. 1/3 of all flu tests are positive, according to the CDC, just about 33%. And what's contributing to a lot of this is the new flu variant, which is dubbed the super flu, the H3N2 virus. And that's causing the most sickness, according to the new report that just came out within the last about half hour or so. And as I mentioned, Georgia's flu activity is considered very high, major surge underway. And there's really no sign of this being let up anytime soon, because if you think about it, all the people just gathered for not only Christmas, but also New Year's. We know that a lot of people are going to end up remaining sick and then possibly spreading it. People are returning to work today. People are returning to school today. So if you have that still maybe inkling that you're not feeling well, you could end up spreading that. I'm set to talk to a doctor at about 1 o'clock today about what they're seeing in our area. Last week when I talked to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, I talked to an epidemiologist there. She was telling me that it's just a major problem that people are having to deal with. This is one of the worst flu seasons that she has seen in about 2 decades. Obviously, one that comes to mind is the swine flu back in like 2009, I think it was.
Sure.
But she says a lot of people are dealing with this. That super flu, which is the H3N2, is a new variant.
Yeah.
And they say that that is contributing to a lot of the virus, a lot of the sickness this year. So maybe I shouldn't be so close to you if you're sick. I don't know.
Well, at this point, right, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But, actually, I spoke with the doctor today, too, Dr. Winnower, and just kind of asked him why we're seeing that this year. One of the things he mentioned is that it wasn't a good match, the vaccine. Yeah. They work really hard to try to make that match up with the strain, so there's that. But he also said the numbers of people who've gotten vaccinated are down this season as well. So
I think it was about 40%. I did the story last, that was part of our story, and it was like, according to CDC numbers, like 40% as of November 30th. Yeah, I mean, every year the vaccination rate is a problem, but it is a lot less this year, according to the data. And that's what's interesting. Obviously, it may have not been a good match, but they do say that even if you get the flu shot, you can still get sick because the flu vaccine is not one of those vaccines that's meant to keep you from getting sick. It's meant to keep you out of the hospital, and it's meant to lessen the symptoms. And what's interesting, and I did have this conversation because with the doctor last week, what they were telling me was that now the CDC has really started doing what they call a trivariant, which is 3 variants inside one vaccine. 5 years ago, I think they stopped it 2 years ago, but about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they were doing what they called a quad variant, which was 4 different variants in one. But what they did was, in the last few years, they've stopped putting a second B virus, because there's 2 types of flu, A and B. The B is what they stopped for putting an extra one in, and they've been putting 2 A's and 1 B. Essentially what that means to you is you're still going to get sick in terms of A and B. They're both flu, but normally the A is what happens earlier in the season. B is what happens later in the season. Right now, A is what's rampant, and that's the H3N2, which is the super flu.
Very interesting.
I'm not a doctor, but
that helps in trying to make sense of all of this. So,
and I did also ask this, if you have the time.
Yeah, we do.
So what I was talking with that doctor about last week, I said, it doesn't matter to get tested. We knew during COVID, they always said, make sure you know your status, get tested, know if you are sick. They said, in this situation, if you are a healthy adult, you really don't need to know. Just make sure you are staying home, you are resting, and as long as you are able to manage the symptoms yourself, you may not need that Tamiflu or one of those antivirals to be able to fight the flu. They want to save those for people who are maybe immunocompromised or someone who is incredibly sick, because someone like you and me may not need that extra help because we have a good immune system or something like that. So.
Right. Well, and along those lines, too, it's only a 48-hour window from being sick and being able to be prescribed that. So it's just something to think about. But some really great info. I mean, this is the story. Like, this is what people are talking about, why everyone has the flu and just what's going on with all this.
And there's a lot of mystery viruses going around. I know people who who've been tested. I know early in December last month, we're now in January. Hard to believe that already. We're in 2026. But in December, I was down and out at the beginning of the month. High fever, wasn't the flu, wasn't COVID, wasn't strep throat. Doctor had no idea, and I was down for the count. So there's also those mystery viruses going around, a common cold that could get you really sick, just depends. So you really want to be careful out there. Make sure you take your vitamin C.
Stay well,
Orange
no doubt, if you can, for sure. Tyler Finger, thank you so much. We appreciate you doing that for us. All right, we want to get you to some breaking news for you right now. This is from the Falcons. So let's take a look right here as we look at Mercedes-Benz Stadium right here. Atlanta Falcons owner and chairman Arthur Blank announced in a letter to fans in the Atlanta community the promotion of President Greg Beadles to President and Chief Executive Officer. So just to read part of what this statement has to say about this, he says, as President and CEO of the Falcons, Beadles will oversee all aspects of the business operations of the organization and, quote, collaborate with the president of football to ensure alignment with the entire business and football areas of the organization. Beadles succeeds Rich McKay, who'd held the CEO role since 2011. McKay will continue as executive chief officer of AMB Sports and Entertainment. So it goes on just to and talk a little bit about how Greg has served in the community, talking about the knowledge that he has, the leadership that he's shown. So some kind words there from Arthur Blank. So this part I thought was interesting. It says, president of the Falcons for the past 3 years, Beadles maintained day-to-day oversight of finance, operations, marketing, digital communications. Goes on just to list what some of those duties are. It says during his tenure, Beadles oversaw significant expansion and renovations of the team's headquarters in Flowery Branch, while the Falcons annually ranked among the highest in overall game day satisfaction in the NFL's Voice of the Fan survey. So again, this news coming in, it looks like Atlanta Falcons owner Arthur Blank announcing to fans the promotion of President Greg Beadles to President and Chief Executive Officer. So of course, all of this coming on the heels that head coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot had been fired by the Falcons organization. So we can expect to hear much more about who will be placed into those positions, of course, in the days and weeks ahead. All right, so we are going to switch gears now, and we heard from Jonathan, our meteorologist, not too long ago, just talking about temperatures, which are relatively mild right now. But of course, we know just a few weeks ago that wasn't the case. And since we are in winter, we can expect those cold temperatures to make their way back. So to help us winterize our house and avoid those busted pipes, we are joined by Chris Rosenthal. He's with the Henry County Water Authority, showing us what we can do to hopefully prevent this happening to us. Good morning, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably no busted water pipes today from the weather, but we are still in winter and cold temperatures can still come. And I think we all remember in 2022 in December, Christmas, when we had the freezing cold temperatures and there were busted pipes were a big problem throughout the metro Atlanta area. So we want to prevent that. Henry County Water Authority wants to prevent that. So that's why I'm here with Brooke Jackson from Henry County Authority, and we're going to go over just a few spots in the house where, you know, some really simple devices and simple things that we can do to really make eliminate or reduce the risk of broken pipes. So let's start right here in the kitchen.
All right, so one of the best things to do when our temperatures go below freezing is to drip your faucets, and it doesn't take much, just a steady drip, and might have to play with it a little bit, but just like that. If you drip your faucets like that, you will greatly reduce the likelihood of having a frozen pipe. And also, it doesn't hurt to open your cabinet, fall down into the teens and 20s, just to let some of the heat from the home circulate down around those pipes, keep them warm.
And dripping it like this, I mean, you know, I always kind of think, oh gosh, I'm going to be using water. This is going to cost me money, huh?
Yeah, it's very little, especially compared to damages. So, you know, and mainly just during the nighttime or freezing hours. And of course, if we never got out of the teens, I would probably do it all day. But mainly just the nighttime in our areas. You know, definitely over even if we had a lot of freezing temps. We're talking maybe $10, $15 increase on your water bill, which is, you know, nothing compared to thousands of dollars in damage to a home.
Absolutely. And you recommend doing this for pretty much all the faucets in the house, huh?
Yeah, that's correct. Just to cover all your bases, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
Let's go around to the we're gonna go to the garage here in this home here in Henry County, and some other areas we've gone over here this morning. Got here a little early, went over some of this. Talk to me about pipes, things you can do with your pipes here.
So if you live on the crawl space and have exposed pipes in your crawl space, Home Depot, Lowe's, any hardware store, Ace Hardware carries pipe insulation. I recommend, so as you can see, some of these pipes right here are already wrapped. I went ahead and cut a piece this morning to install on this little section, and it's literally that easy to wrap your pipes, protect them from the cold. In a garage, you know, if you leave in the morning and you open the garage, when you leave the garage, kind of keep the warm air in. Other things to do is your outside faucets. They make hard and soft covers for those. You just attach it to the spigot, pull it tight, cinch it up to the house. Same with these, you slip it over, cinch it up. It just protects those faucets. Of course, unhook the water hose from the faucet before you put these on. Bring them inside, keep them from getting damaged as well in your garage.
That's a super easy, quick repair to do. And you know, and this house is a real world example. The owner of this house actually at one point left the garage door open, and it let all the cold air, and they actually did have a leak here. Leak actually I think started back by this hot water tank. And so yeah, even just keeping your, you know, and if you got pets, you know, just be careful not to keep it cracked all day. I know that sometimes is a tendency, but if it's really cold, don't. Right?
Exactly.
And this is kind of cool. There's some, well, this is logged out now, I guess, but there's also some software that you can get alerts on.
So we have a AMI system that you can log in if you're a Henry County water customer, and you might check with your water provider, but you can log in and create an account in our portal. It's free. You can monitor your usage. You can set thresholds. So if you have constant consumption, it'll send you a text, email. You can just monitor the amount of water you use. It's a great tool for us and the customer.
Yeah, you have it here in Henry County, and you also, you know, you can check with your local, you know, whoever your water provider is. It's something that's fairly universal. I'm sure a lot of providers may have that.
Yes. Yes.
Now this. Where are we heading right now?
So we're heading out to the water meter. The best way to find your water meter is to go to the street, which we're doing now. Kind of look left and right. It doesn't always fall on one side or the other. But usually the curb will be marked by either some blue paint, as you see here, or a W etched into the curb. And what that does is that will line up with the meter. So wherever that line or that mark is, just walk into your property, and you should run across a box with a water meter in it. When you do find it, let's say you didn't wrap your pipes and they busted, or you have a problem, the best thing to do is come out, locate your water meter. And it's very simple to turn off. You can use a crescent wrench, you can use pliers. It's just that easy to stop. So if this line is crossways of the pipe, that means it is off. If it is in line and flowing with the pipe, it is on. It's literally that simple. So if you can't get it off, call us, call your water provider. But if you can do it, of course, it'll be a lot quicker and save damages to your own.
Gotcha. And that's if you notice a big water leak or a huge spike and you don't know.
Yeah, if you've got water flooding the area of your home or something, the best thing to do is come out and get this turned off as soon as possible. And
that's something that's okay and anybody can do.
Yep.
Gotcha. And then from there, you know, call an expert maybe to help find wherever that leak is.
That's right.
Absolutely. And, you know, for people that may live in an apartment, they may not have access to something like this, but they can do things like wrapping, you know, like we talked about the kitchen, right?
Yes. So if you live in an apartment, probably the best thing to do is just drip the pipes. Your maintenance team there, of course, is probably on top of wrapping pipes and that sort of thing, and you won't have an individual water meter. But dripping that faucet open in cabinets is your best line of defense.
That's kind of the first thing you should do whenever you watch the forecast, you watch Jonathan's forecast, and you see those freezing temperatures.
Yep.
That's probably the first and simplest thing you can do there.
Especially when we have several days of maybe we don't get above freezing, or several nights of 19 and 20 degrees. That's when it really starts happening.
These are all really cheap, pretty cost-effective solutions. Absolutely. Brook Jackson, Henry County Water Authority. I mean, thanks so much for joining us on this. So
yes, thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, hard to imagine on a day like today that we might have any cold weather problems, but yeah, we are still in the middle of winter very much, and good to know those cold weather temperatures can arrive. So.
Yeah, certainly so. You know, and it's so funny as you were saying that, Chris, the blue sky up there, right? The sunshine. But like you said, it's important to make that plan and just to know what you need to do to winterize your home for when those cold temperatures return. So this was super helpful, and we appreciate that today, Chris. Thank you so much. And again, a special shout out to, let's see who was with them there, Henry County Water Authority offering us that this morning. All right, our time is 11:48, and we are back right after this. Welcome back. Well, one of the largest tech trade shows in the world is soon to take over Las Vegas. It's kicking off this week there. We're talking about the Consumer Electronics Show, and it's bringing in companies from around the world just to showcase their latest products. So it's a big spectacle every single year. A lot of conversation around this. So we've got Fox's Amalia Roy, and she's joining us live from Las Vegas with a look ahead. So this is certainly a big deal, Amalia. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Yes, it's a very big deal. It's an event where we have 4,500 companies from 150 plus countries, and we're seeing massive companies, but you're also seeing people who are just starting out, who have products that they're trying to make their name with, and so they all get to come together for a conference like this, take over all of the convention space throughout the Strip, and so you get to see the big tech announcements, but I'm also seeing more everyday products that people can buy online right now.
We asked people what they wanted in their their next generation smart devices. Everyone said they wanted to be multi-featured. They wanted it to be controlled from a single app, and they also wanted to have motion detection.
AI is doing so much for us today, right? So being able to take advantage of that and being a leader and establishing a model that can track your behavior, the clinical signs, your salivary microbiome to provide these insights we see ourselves as a leader in that.
With this, you can see from these very, very specific products. You have smoke detectors. Though we're seeing a lot in the smart home technology. So with this case, with that smoke detector you saw earlier, it's not just a smoke detector. It also has cameras, motion sensors, heat sensors, so that people can customize where they want this in their home and for what needs they have, and run it through an app. You also have the second gentleman we heard from who has his smart toothbrush, who says that you can brush your teeth in 20 seconds and it uses AI to show you about your dental health. And so you have situations like those, but you also were hearing some big keynote addresses from these bigger companies that are speaking more about where they see the industry going. CES, or the Consumer Technology Association that runs CES, says that we can expect for this year to see more trends of artificial intelligence making its way into devices. We also know that people are getting really interested in robotics, or also with wearable health technology.
Yeah, Amalia, I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, you think about events like this, and every year CES is like the huge things that come out of it. But I have to tell you, it kind of changed my way of thinking when you talk about smart toothbrushes and smart robots and that kind of thing. I think it puts it into perspective what most of us will be able to enjoy from this. What do you think? But I also saw this too, just kind of trying to figure out what people were into and what kept coming up. And you have to tell me if you have seen or heard this too. But folks are wanting to see more humanoid robots. So I don't know, that could be something that we see more of coming out of this.
So that is actually something that I am hoping to see today. I'm trying to see it for a peek for tomorrow, because I have been told that with humanoid robots, it is something we're seeing where we're even products that aren't necessarily here yet. I've been getting sneak peeks about what to even expect at CES 2027, and you're looking at these companies wanting to make robots fit into society. And so you add that combination with artificial intelligence, they say it's the future. They say that there's a lot that can be learned from it, and even if we might see them today doing handstands, playing games, walking, that there's this underlying technology there that has so many applications.
Very, very interesting. Hey, you've got a front row seat, so if anyone's going to get to see it first, it's you. And then, of course, bring us all of the fun stuff. So Fox's Amalia Roy live for us in Las Vegas ahead of the Consumer Electronics Show. Amalia, thank you so much for that look ahead. We appreciate it. All right, our time now, of course, is 11:55 now. And just a quick reminder for you about something that's happening a little bit later today. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens will be sworn into his second term in office, so another 4 years for the mayor of Atlanta. That starts at 1 o'clock, and we will show you the whole thing right here on Fox Local. You can catch it there. That swearing-in ceremony happening at Georgia State University. So this is a big day for the mayor, a big day for the city as well, as he embarks on his second term here. So in the meantime, let's get a live look for you outside on this Monday morning. Really is a nice start to the day. Things are certainly improving as far as the fog goes from what we experienced this morning when visibility was so low. So we're taking a look right now out over downtown Atlanta, seeing those blue skies. Temperature wise, things aren't too bad for us. Our meteorologist says mild, mostly cloudy, patchy fog will return late, lows in the 40s. Looking ahead to tomorrow, expecting it to be cloudy and warm, possible morning fog once again, highs in the upper 60s, staying warm throughout the week. Some stray showers, though, as we head into the weekend. So that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for being with us here at 11. We've got more news and weather headed your way at noon. We'll see you then.